Jam 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up?
I'm nervous as hell right now.
Satan and all shady are my enemy. I don't run from the fight. I'm not scared of consequences, because if you're scared of consequences, then that means that breeds fear, and fear means you gonna stop. And we can't ever afford to stop.
Even Snoop. You understand? A lot of more people, their career went up when they sat on this man's lap as the director. You understand?
Oh, man.
And that's why a lot of them sold their soul to be on the director chair.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024.
Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a relationship with Diddy.
Do you remember when Katt Williams shared those shocking claims on Club Shay Shay and people immediately labeled him as crazy? Even Steve Harvey looked so uneasy that he could hardly continue discussions about it. But now, as federal witnesses have reportedly mentioned Snoop Dogg, sealed testimony is emerging and stories about Kim Porter's alleged diary and compromising photos are starting to spread. The statements Katt made are now being viewed from a completely different perspective. What you are about to witness is not simple gossip or rumor. It is a man seemingly being proven right in real time. As Hollywood rushes to separate itself from Diddy's empire, the names Katt brought up are said to be surfacing inside federal courtrooms. The mainstream media once portrayed him as a comedian losing control. But what if every prediction Katt Williams made begins to match the direction of ongoing federal investigations? For 3 decades, I have done nothing except gather information. That was all Katt claimed he needed to expose the full extent of what he had been compiling. 30 years of collecting Hollywood's darkest secrets, while others were busy chasing fame and wealth. I know too many things I was never supposed to know. And they are all aware of it. And there it is. The statement that sends shockwaves across Hollywood. Katt does not just speculate about what happens at private parties and behind closed doors. He says he knows. He insists he has proof. For 30 years, he claims he has been watching, listening, and documenting. While other comedians focused on protecting their careers, Katt was preparing something much more powerful: raw truth supported by what he says is undeniable evidence. And you do not have to rely only on my words. When someone as outspoken as Candace Owens, a woman known for challenging powerful institutions, publicly backs Katt Williams' credibility, the conversation moves from speculation to something far more serious.
I know so many things I should know, and they all know it.
Pay attention to the certainty in Candace's voice. She is not simply defending Katt. She is strengthening the belief that his information was precise enough to highlight industry connections years before federal investigators began assembling their cases. Candace Owens does more than reference Katt's history. She suggests he already understood links, including Diddy's reported relationship with Lucien Grange, long before those details appeared in federal lawsuits. Think about what that suggests. While many people brushed Katt off as paranoid, he was putting forward claims that over time started to overlap with concerns raised in wider investigations. What once sounded like speculation is now being reconsidered from a very different angle.
People who had publicly alleged that this is what was going on in Hollywood, Katt Williams being one of them. Take a listen to what he said to Shannon Sharpe on his podcast, and this is before the producer had dropped his lawsuit. Take a listen.
I'm quite likely to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. And I should make it clear that in this lawsuit, the reason why Universal Music Group is being sued by Lil Rod is because he alleges that it's them that is sitting at the top of this ring. So essentially, Diddy is working for somebody else, and that person that he named in his lawsuit was Lucien Grange. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a relationship with Diddy. So he is the person that controls Diddy, that Lucien Grange was aware of these parties, that Universal Music Group was aware of these parties. Essentially, that Diddy is the thug and the gangster working on behalf of Lucien Grange. That is the takeaway that you get when you read this lawsuit. So how odd that rather than the media being unbelievably interested, as I was, completely seized by this lawsuit, as I was, rather than them asking questions about Fahim, asking questions about Lucien Grange, who's got a very interesting past, changed his name. I don't tend to trust men that change their last names, least of all 3 times, as his family has done. Rather than any of that, they started attacking me for reading the lawsuit, for putting together the clips. How dare you?
And this is where the situation becomes especially revealing. Candace does not use soft terms like industry or business. She calls it what she believes it is: a gang. In her view, Hollywood is not simply managed by executives and agents. It functions like an organized power network that shields its own members. When someone with Candace's reputation for bold commentary describes Hollywood in those terms and implies that influential figures did not want Diddy facing consequences for alleged misconduct, the tone of the discussion changes. It stops sounding like celebrity chatter and begins to resemble claims of coordinated protection and influence. At that stage, the issue is not only whether Katt Williams was noticing something unusual. The larger question becomes how deep these power structures really go, and how many celebrities feel pressure to remain silent within that environment. What Katt says he observed through personal connections and experiences is now being reviewed through formal investigations, grand jury activity, and sealed court documents. That is why this moment feels different.
Conspiracy theorists, you keep saying it's a conspiracy, that people may shy away from the topic. I don't suffer from that. I want to know what's going on, as should every single person in this country, because there should be no individual in the entire world that can beat a woman on camera and not face any charges. That is just an utter insanity. It begs the question as to what is actually going on in Hollywood. And I think the answer is that Hollywood has been being run by a gang.
This involves reporting on federal grand jury proceedings, not YouTube theories or social media speculation. Courtney Burgess reportedly gave sworn testimony before a federal grand jury about 11 flash drives said to contain intimate videos involving 8 celebrities and Sean Diddy Combs. According to the testimony, 6 were male and 2 were female, and they appeared to be intoxicated or under the influence. Notice the anchor's careful wording. The 8 individuals shown in the recordings were described as alleged victims of possible crimes. Their identities are known to investigators, but have not been publicly revealed. Whether famous or not, this is not entertainment gossip.
Was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs and protecting the privacy. His name is Courtney Burgess, and he says a friend gave him 11 flash drives that belonged to the late Kim Porter. And if you follow this story, you'll know that Kim Porter is Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of 4 of his kids. On those drives, the witness says 8 videos featured 8 celebrities at Diddy freak-offs or parties, and that 6 were males, 2 were females. The drive also included a manuscript of an alleged Kim Porter memoir, a memoir that her 4 kids insist is fake. Courtney Burgess told his story on a podcast before he told the grand jury today, and after he told the grand jury, and I mean immediately after, he booked it over to my set, and he and his attorney talked to me. I should tell you that he was very limited in how much detail he could go into about his testimony. And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of crimes, we know who they are.
This is where Snoop Dogg's name reportedly appears in federal testimony. Courtney Burgess is not only claiming to have videos. He is also alleged that he possesses Kim Porter's original memoir, which he says includes compromising photographs involving Sean Diddy Combs, Snoop Dogg, Andre Harrell, and other public figures. If accurate, these claims would suggest the existence of documentary material that Kim Porter allegedly gathered and preserved before her death in 2018. Consider the implications. Kim Porter, the mother of Diddy's children and someone who spent many years close to him, would have been uniquely positioned to witness events within that circle. According to these allegations, she may have been documenting sensitive or compromising situations involving well-known individuals. However, it is essential to distinguish confirmed facts from speculation. Kim Porter died in 2018, and her official cause of death was reported as lobar pneumonia. While her passing sparked online discussion and public questions, there is no publicly confirmed evidence connecting her death to any criminal investigation. Claims regarding a memoir photographs or their link to federal cases remain allegations unless proven in court. As federal proceedings continue, what is verified through official filings and testimony will matter far more than rumor or assumption.
You understand? A lot of more people, their career went up when they sat on this man's lap as the director. You understand?
Oh, man.
And that's why a lot of them sold their soul to be on the director chair.
Tell us some of the differences between the PG version of the book and the R-rated. Like, what was changed in to the PG version?
The rated book got Snoop letting Diddy rub on his hand.
Damn.
You understand? And that's where one of the X's come from, Snoop.
Can you hold it up a little bit more? Let me see how that. Oh yeah, dang.
You understand? We don't hold our man hand. We shake it and get it back in our pocket.
Right.
You understand? They got Diddy and Neo. And if you heard Neo's wife call him Little Diddy, that he like freak off, get high and get freak off. They all baby oil you up.
Oh man, what the hell is that?
You understand?
Yo.
Eyes
not
wide.
him and the son. That's the son, right?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Damn.
And you got Andre Harrell. He hugged up like they finished tongue kissing.
Yeah.
You know, we don't hug on our boys like that, sitting that close on each other's lap. You know what I'm saying? Then we got Snoop and Diddy, you know, in an appropriate way. But the reason why they in there is to speak about that.
According to reports, federal law enforcement agents confronted Burgess and confiscated his electronic devices. However, he has claimed that he maintained backup copies of the material. If true, that would indicate investigators considered the content serious enough to pursue formal criminal procedures. Rather than dismissing Burgess outright, authorities reportedly treated him as a potential witness in an active federal matter. But Burgess is not the only person alleging that major celebrities were placed in compromising situations at events connected to Diddy. Federal prosecutors have indicated that multiple accusers have submitted statements describing alleged misconduct at gatherings, sometimes referred to in court documents as free-off parties. As with any ongoing investigation, these claims remain allegations unless proven in court. The legal process will ultimately determine which accounts are supported by evidence and which are not.
Confronted by so many law enforcement for the CDs, even my studio equipment was confiscated.
So the feds came and got stuff?
Yeah, even I got a new phone. I had to get a new phone because they took the phone and did what they did. I wasn't going to use the same phone, so I just, you know, this is not mine to keep. This is all I needed, and this.
She is reportedly not the only person seen on the tapes that Homeland Security allegedly collected from Diddy's properties. There are claims that several A-list celebrities appear on those federal evidence recordings, including Snoop Dogg. She also implies that these tapes could eventually become public. When federal agents raid a location, they do not remove items at random. They focus on materials prosecutors believe could help support criminal cases. The fact that this witness specifically mentions A-list names, including Snoop Dogg, suggests authorities may possess video evidence potentially linking these figures to questionable activities. Claims surrounding Snoop Dogg's connection to Diddy appear even more troubling when viewed against a long history of alleged industry misconduct that insiders say has been documented for decades.
Someone said that when they did the raid, I'm on them tapes, and there's multiple A-list celebrities running a train on me, including certain people that are presidential. No, we're talking about Diddy. We're going to come back to that, LB. Stay with me. We don't go any further till we get the result.
Man.
Hey, but anyway, once I found that out, I've been living my life for the last 20 years not knowing that had even happened to me. And now because they found out that I know that I'm on them tapes with them doing that to me, these are people that have smiled in my face since then. I had no idea that. But if There's a certain way the tape is going to come out, and there's a certain way that it never will.
This is Suge Knight speaking from behind bars. A man who says he has nothing left to lose and, according to him, a great deal to disclose about the night Tupac was shot in Las Vegas. Suge states he was inside the car, took a bullet fragment himself, and had direct knowledge of who came to see Tupac during his final days and who noticeably stayed away. According to Suge, after the shooting, he never saw Snoop Dogg at the hospital. Later, when Snoop allegedly arrived at Suge's home with Tupac's mother, he reportedly broke down crying repeatedly, saying nothing is going to be all right. Why would Snoop react this way? According to Suge, he believes Snoop may have already made some kind of deal with someone, and that guilt may have kept him from visiting Tupac in his final moments. The person many expected to be at Tupac's bedside was noticeably missing. And when he finally showed up, his behavior suggested he may have already known the outcome. The timeline raises serious questions. Tupac was shot in Las Vegas after confronting Orlando Anderson, a known Crips member, and Snoop Dogg, who has documented ties to the Crips, was reportedly absent from the hospital while his close friend fought for his life. When he eventually appeared, he seemed emotionally shaken. Suge's claims go beyond Tupac's situation. He alleges there is a wider pattern within the music business where pressure and leverage are used to influence major artists. The same type of conduct federal prosecutors are reportedly examining in the Diddy investigation.
Got shot in Vegas. Was Snoop at the hospital?
So, Snoop didn't go nowhere near the hospital. So when it happened, as you know, for some strange reason, but now we know the real reason, Snoop did not attend the fight with us or the club, the after party at Club 662. And what's so crazy about that, we thought it was strange that he wasn't there. This is the first one he didn't attend. And according to Warren G and everybody else, now we know why he didn't. But to get straight to the point was this. I was at my house in Vegas, and I started calling Snoop, telling him, hey, what's up? You know? Like, it's something wrong with this situation. Pac in the hospital, come holler at him, come check on him. So he drove down, and I was at the house waiting on him. And Tupac's mother was at my house. So we back by the pool, and then the pool area is like two big guest houses. So as when Snoop come up, and there's other people out there, we walk in the back to talk. As we start talking, I said, you know, I'm on him, like, man, why you ain't here? You should have been at the hospital. And then Tupac's mother was there, the Fanny. She was like, yeah, I know you should want to see him. He told her, he was like, well, look, Tupac hates me right now. He mad at me. He hates me. So I feel bad, and that's why I didn't go up there. And Tupac's mother said, well, look, Pac was mad at me, too, for a few things I'd rather not swear than for some stealing shit, she said, right? But, you know, we all do that with our mothers. So she said, well, he was mad at me, too, but that's my son, I'm there. And if he hates you, you still want to go do the right thing and go visit him, right? So as we start talking, Snoop just start crying and fell down and start throwing up, like literally throwing up, right? So we looking at him like, damn, what happened to this dude? So once he get up and explain to him, and you know, we didn't think weird, nothing weird. We just thought he really emotional right now and he throwing up, you know? So when he got himself together, we were still talking to him. Pac's mother says, it's gonna be all right.
The statement is direct and clear. Suge Knight claims that both Diddy and Snoop Dogg have had private relationships not as an insult, but as information about their personal lives. Coming from someone who once ran Death Row Records and says he has deep knowledge of industry operations, this is framed not as rumor, but as insider insight, highlighting how influence is allegedly maintained at the highest levels of hip-hop.
You walk into a party, standing in there is Puffy, Dre, Snoop. What do you think?
First of all, you know I don't go to those type of parties. You know, I'm straight.
At this point, the systematic nature of the alleged control becomes more visible. This is not being described as isolated incidents. It is portrayed as an entrenched industry practice that has reportedly continued for years. The pattern of mistreatment Suge Knight talks about is, according to the allegations, exactly what federal prosecutors are now said to be documenting in the Diddy case: powerful figures in the music world using pressure and compromising situations to keep artists in line. Suge claims that victims can later become participants as they rise through the industry ranks. He suggests this could explain how someone like Snoop Dogg, who may have initially been affected by this system, could later become involved in continuing it with newer artists.
Plain and simple. Ain't no whistleblower. Facts is there. But right now, I don't care if it's T.I., I don't care if it's Rick Ross, I don't care if it's Jay, I don't care if it's Snoop, I don't care if it's Game, I don't care if it's Dre. Nobody's stepping up on the fact that you know what's going on.
Nobody's defending him.
You're right. Guys that in the scope.
Suge Knight explains that once federal attention increases, everyone who was previously connected suddenly begins to distance themselves and act as if they were unaware of what was happening. This seems to mirror what is currently unfolding in the Diddy situation. Celebrities who were often seen at his events are now claiming total ignorance of any alleged misconduct. The speed and coordination of this industry-wide distancing suggests these may not have been simple friendships. These were business ties built on mutual leverage. When one individual faces consequences, the rest quickly step back because they may all have something they do not want exposed about their role in the same system. Suge's credibility, according to some observers, comes from his complete separation from today's industry environment. He is serving a life sentence, has no career to protect, and appears to have nothing to gain from misrepresenting these connections. When someone with nothing left to lose shares detailed claims about compromise and systemic control, those statements can seem especially convincing, particularly when they align with matters federal authorities are reportedly investigating.
On the industry for a whole bunch of years, for decades. And at the same time, nobody wants this to be true, and it shouldn't have to be true. But if we don't fix it and do something about it, history will constantly
repeat itself. Now, Suge, you said something early on that I want to get clarification for the audience. Suge, you said early on, you can't just look at Diddy in isolation. You said this was done to him. He learned from others, and it was done to him, and then he did to others. To me, that sounds like what I hear when people are talking about situations, hurt people, that someone was they wind up being a perpetrator. Is that what you're suggesting about Sean Combs, that he was and he now?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think he repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Rail, you know the truth. Clyde Davis, you know the truth. Jimmy Iovine, you know the truth. So there's not certain things that all of a sudden you got this. The industry is a quick business.
This fan account describes what is allegedly an industry initiation ritual referred to as the boiled egg test. According to street sources, Snoop Dogg is said to have passed it. The fan points to Snoop's noticeable interest in boiled eggs, frequently posting about them, eating them publicly, and even weaving them into his personal branding. At first, this may appear insignificant. However, federal prosecutors are reportedly examining initiation practices and submission tests allegedly used to maintain leverage over artists. In this context, the boiled egg test is said to represent more than just food. It allegedly signals a willingness to perform certain acts in exchange for access within the industry. When federal investigations focus on someone you have reportedly been closely linked to for years, reactions tend to differ. Innocent individuals often respond with shock and support for accountability, while those who may feel exposed sometimes react with defensive confusion and calculated distancing. Listen closely to Snoop Dogg's carefully measured response. He says he was surprised by the Diddy controversy, claims he never witnessed anything of that nature, and presents himself as a better boss than those he previously worked around. Every part of this reply reflects what some analysts describe as classic guilty behavior: strategic, surprise, defensive distancing, and virtue signaling. Innocent people typically do not react to a friend's federal case by promoting their own business image. Individuals under suspicion allegedly use moments like this to shape alternative narratives that position them as morally above their compromised associates. From Kim Porter's reported records to Suge Knight's prison statements, from Tupac's hospital absence to the boiled egg stories, each element seems to point in a similar direction. But here is the real question. If Snoop Dogg, one of hip-hop's most respected icons, was allegedly connected to these compromising situations for years, how many other celebrities we admire could be caught in this same network of control? And when federal prosecutors eventually release the celebrity tapes Homeland Security reportedly seized from Diddy's properties, will the names surprise you, or will it confirm that the entertainment industry has allegedly operated as a system built to compromise and control the very stars the public celebrates? If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button so you never miss new updates, and until then fam, keep it